Hello and welcome to a new video from MimicHobby. Today's model is the lovable Krogan, Grunt, from the Mass Effect series. Sculpted by Hell Creator, check out the description for how to get hold of this model. This video is a bite-sized look at just one particular aspect of the model, his chunky, oversized armor. All this footage comes from one of my recent Twitch streams. Come hang out and see the process live sometime. Starting with a grey primer, the entire model is dry brushed with white paint to set a foundation for the highlights and shadows. Using the airbrush, a dark ink is sprayed onto the model to block in the shadows. This is where you start to mark the darkest areas for the metallics. I like to use Payne's Grey for this, but depending on the armour and desired effect, you could use a different dark colour. First layer of metallic is added to the model using a dry brush method. This is where the paint is all but wiped from the brush and gently brushed along the surface so that it builds up in the spots you want it. For the most part, it will build up on the raised areas. You can add a little extra to the parts of the metallic that you want the highlights to be most prominent. Then you add a further layer of dark ink to reinforce the shadows you set earlier. The use of ink here is key because it is transparent to allow the metal pigment through, and also satin or semi-gloss so that it closely matches the luster of the metal, only reducing it slightly to give the impression of shadows. Another layer of dry brushing is added to reinforce the highlights again. Can you see a pattern here? Well, anyone paying attention might realise that these steps will repeat several times. There is no correct number of times to repeat these passes, at least 3 or 4 is best. At the next ink pass it is time to add an even darker ink. I use straight carbon black as you start to push the contrast even further, focusing on the very darkest areas, deepest recesses and the areas you are building up the shadow, places that would not catch so much light. I show the final dry brush layer here, where I have moved to a smaller brush to pick out the details and to finalise the highlights on the metal. Blue and white are sprayed into the vents and also painted into the details to give a glowing effect. Panel lining and light detailing is done last, and the armour is done. Super quick, super simple, perfect for speed painting. Here you can see the final result. Check out our Patreon where we have a deep dive on metallics that features a bunch of different ways to use them. Don't forget to drop a like and a comment if you found this helpful, and join our Discord to help me choose my next video topics. Thanks for watching.